Kaiser, how you doing, buddy?
Well, clearly not as well as you, eh?
What?
Which corner are you sitting on right now?
I don't know. Somewhere in Paris. I'm lost in Paris.
Shit, man, I'm jealous, eh? So how are the
It's a
people there? Because I see you. I mean, I
yeah.
just see you post. Yeah.
I'm sitting at a cafe.
And have you had a jus d'orange yet?
No français, only anglais.
Yeah,
You,
jus d'orange is orange juice. Have you had an orange juice?
no. I'm having a sparkling water. Es Pellegrino.
Is it French? Is that not Italian?
Yeah, it's Italian.
Yeah, it's Italian. You know, but
Yeah.
you must buy French stuff. Eh? Like, did you have a
I know.
croissant? Did you have a croissant?
No, I had a baguette. Baguette.
And okay, café au
So,
lait. Have you had a café au lait?
oui. So
Again.
I'm just in a
Yeah.
cafe down the road from. I rented this little flat, and there's like a cool, like it's like a Woolies basically across. So I've done some shopping.
Okay.
I mean, food. If you buy food at the shop here, it's actually pretty cheap. Like compared to other stuff. Like I bought a
Yeah,
whole bunch.
in the grocery store, yeah, with
Yeah,
our week rand at the moment. So how much
yeah.
do you pay, like, in euros for, let's say, I mean, what do you buy? Like a can of Coke, Coke of can.
Coke
How
of
much is a
can.
can of Coke?
Stop talking about Coke. I'm a recovering addict.
Yeah, but just take off your glasses quickly. I just want to
Okay.
see whether you actually. Yeah, no Coke of can there.
So yeah, I think I bought a whole bunch of stuff, and I paid like 50 euros, but like a lot. I mean, I think it could last me like a week.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's
That's
okay.
okay.
Yeah,
And what are you
I
doing
bought.
in Paris, eh?
I'm doing podcasts.
Yeah, but you're there for work.
Yeah, so I'm checking out the equivalent of the SEC, which is the American sort of like financial regulator. There in France, it's the AMF.
And why France specifically? I mean, are they
Because the
quite
com-
advanced when it
because
comes to
yeah,
crypto and all that shit?
not really. This is apparently the first initial coin offering that is regulated. So it's like an IPO, an initial purchase offer when you register
Yeah.
a company. It's the first regulated initial coin offering in the world. That's what I've been told. So
So
yeah,
you
I'm
just
just gonna.
meeting with them, or is it an actual conference or like a?
Nah, I'm just gonna check them out. I wanna check out the guys that told me about this and see on Wednesday. So I've got a meeting with someone there. Don't know what, can't remember what their name is, but yeah.
And
So I'm
then
just
you're
gonna.
off to Berlin, eh?
No, I didn't go to Berlin. I wanted to go in the weekend because
Oh.
and then there was literally no trains to Germany until Wednesday, like none. Yeah, so in the end, I just decided to stay in Paris, and it's cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna stay here.
Yeah, but the weather seems okay now. I saw one of your posts with a lot of rain earlier.
Yeah, it was there was a downpour yesterday while I was sitting at a cafe, like a thunderstorm. But it's hot. It's like Pretoria weather.
Yeah. So and the people dressed smartly, eh? Or
Yeah,
not really?
you
Like a
know,
lot of streetwear going on, or heavy fash, eh? Heavy fash.
all kinds, bro. But I'm surprised. It looks like people look at me, like. I mean, I'm not saying this like the way I'm dressed. Like, I didn't think I'd get stares, like people staring at me, but I seem to
Dude, if
be.
I walked past a cafe 5 times in a row and I saw the same guy 5 days in a row and I saw the same guy sitting there, I would also look at you funny.
I've been sitting at different cafes.
Yeah, well, I mean, the same people might also walk past those same cafes on their way to work or
Yeah,
whatever.
maybe because they're following me.
Yeah, but you look a
I
bit
don't,
gangster with your chain and your earrings and
yeah,
your everything, your
but
jewelry.
outside the station that I arrived in, Grand du Nord,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like dudes out sitting outside with that look hip hop, and they're just sitting in the middle of the street, and they're listening to like music, and then they showed me a video on YouTube of their song. So yeah, getting into French rap. So I've
So you
been to like
interact with them a bit and you like
yeah,
make friends. Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And have you seen any street performers?
No, actually I haven't. Um, I'm basically been just moving from place to place because I couldn't find one place for all the time that I'm here. So now I've got a place for 2 nights. So at least I can settle in a bit. And
Yeah.
first night, obviously, like a hotel, which was quite expensive. Then I've kind of stayed like at a almost it's a room, private bathroom, but it's more like young hostel vibe. And the area was quite nice. And the cafe that was just around the corner was the one where it was raining. And then the barman there, Adrien, made friends with him, and he gave me a lot of like tips and stuff. And the place I booked in now for 2 nights, it's like a little apartment in the street, Rue de Marquet, the street name, and it's like a flat. Next door is a barber. Across is the shop, and yeah, it's chill. So it's like a little apartment, like a very small apartment. Come in, bed, and then you go down these like very steep stairs into like a kitchen area and a bathroom. Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, like I mean, I think I could live there. Like I could like work and live in Paris.
I still want to see you. Are you keeping the best for last? The photo of the Eiffel Tower. Dude,
I have.
you must you
It's
must still
close.
do that.
Yeah, yeah. Amelie also wants me to go and take a picture at the Eiffel Tower with a baguette and a bicycle and sing Fuli Fafa like Friday the Concords.
Yeah.
So that video is for game. But now listen, I want to talk about you. Um, last time we chatted on Instagram Live, we were talking about divorce and mediation in divorce, and
Mm.
it's actually interesting, and why I wanted to chat to you now, but we don't have to chat about that. But it's because experiencing a lot of people that are going through divorces and how hectic it can be and shitty. So that's why I actually thought of you to call you and chat. But I think if people could agree to the mediation that you talked about in divorce, I think it makes it a whole
Mm.
different ball game. But
Yeah.
I, one just realizes that people are. It's obviously very emotional and you know I don't think people think straight while they're going through the divorce. So there's a lot of
Mm. Well,
and I
you know
think
what, and that's why I don't do it anymore.
oh
Well,
right
I mean, I don't really do it anymore. I mean, I'll still help out here and there,
yeah
but for me, it was more sort of a sideline project as well to help people and to help them understand that they should actively try and separate the emotion from the transaction, right?
yeah but it's like
But it never
impossible.
works because people are never on the same page. Or it rarely works. I mean, obviously there were some people, and I experienced some successful cases. But in Australia, for example, and I don't know whether they still have it. They had this freeze, this
You
period,
can't.
freeze period.
Yeah, it's like a year that you
Yeah,
can't actually get divorced. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. You had to sort of to almost calm down and
Yes.
to get back your senses,
Yeah.
your yeah. Anyway, I think that's a bloody good idea, right?
Right.
Because I think people always realize two years down the line after a divorce that they could have handled it better,
Yeah. In
and sort of the
retrospect.
relationship or the tension also sort of subsides after after 2 or 3 years, or I mean, even after 1 year. You
Yeah.
know, and also as a mediator, you're always the last resort, right? So people come to you when all their funds have been exhausted. They've seen attorneys. They've
Yeah.
gone through
But it
battles, and
should be maybe the first thing.
it should be the other way around. No, it is. And if the mediation doesn't work, if they've tried the civilized route and it doesn't work, then because it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, to be honest,
Yeah.
it's actually quite
It does. It costs a lot because you're unreasonable and you're emotional at that point, and it takes much longer than it could, and that's why you pay a lot. A
yeah. And
divorce is
people
actually
also, on top of that, people involve their attorneys,
immediately
and the attorney always has the mandate to defend their customer, their
client. Yeah.
client. So they'll never. Or you find few attorneys that actually sort of take a back seat and say, listen,
Yeah.
give the mediation a chance. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's always the best route to take. And I mean, if the people that you know, whatever,
Yeah.
it's always good to advise them to go that route. But unfortunately, the other party doesn't always agree and wants to fight because they feel that they have good
Reason
grounds.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so you're not doing the mediation so much anymore. What are you up
Not
to these days,
not
work-wise
not.
and business?
Well, I mean, I've been working now for remote.com for 1.5 years, global tech company and employer of record. And I've been enjoying sort of the last 1.5 years with them.
Yeah.
It's actually, when I started, they were still classified as a startup,
Yeah.
a tech startup.
But they're
Got
big.
a lot of funding, went through a couple of rounds of funding, reached unicorn status a year ago, and almost classified as a corporate now, sort of between the startup and corporate phase.
Yeah.
So the structures are obviously becoming more formal, and it's becoming more corporate. But it's still a nice company to work for. My colleagues are based across the globe.
Yeah.
I guess probably similar to the setup that you're involved with at the moment.
Yeah, I'm involved in many setups, but
But
I think talking about remote work, I think what was great about COVID essentially was that everyone was forced to do it. It's like so possible, but no one really seemed to try and make it happen. And
it
then
forced it
yeah,
forced companies to also accept the fact that remote work is possible. And
exactly.
companies actually realize that they can cut costs because they don't need the infrastructure. They can then pay more in salaries, or at least save and extend their runway in terms of
Yeah,
the cash.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean also the other thing is technology. We've got all the tech we've had it for a long time. We've had all the technology to work remotely, but no one did it. And the technology, you should be technology is supposed to free up time, and people weren't. I don't think they were using it correctly, and now it can. It can free up time, which is money, which is
And yeah, but you know what the big problem is, especially in South Africa, and I mean I see it in Europe as well. But it's the trust factor, right?
yeah,
Which I do understand to an extent.
yeah,
People can't, companies can't sort of, they can't touch their employees in terms of, you know, or they don't see them in the office on a weekly basis. They almost feel like they lose control.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but I mean, I guess that's something that that the world has to get used to. And I mean, there are people that take chances, of course. I'm sure there are. But they'll also take a chance in an office environment. I mean, people
Yeah,
with that type of attitude,
So tell us a little bit more about Remote, exactly what they do, because I think remote.com. I mean, because I think it's actually a really great thing. Because I've realized now, working for some companies that are international, they've registered their own companies in the country, and they don't understand the labor laws. They don't understand the company laws. And on top of that, they're financial services companies, so they've got to manage that as well. And I thought of you again because I think remote.com is exactly what people need if they want to go. So explain what remote.com does.
Yeah. Well, okay. So remote.com is an employer of record. So in simple terms, we help companies employ employees globally in countries where our customers don't have their own entities,
Yeah,
right? So let's say a company wants to expand, they want to test new markets, or they find talent in countries outside of their core markets.
yeah,
We make it possible for them to employ those people. So an example would be a company in Germany wants to hire someone in Poland, and but they don't have their own entity in Poland, so they can't employ that person on a permanent basis.
yeah,
So they would then employ that person via our Polish entity, and
yeah,
we handle the compliance.
yeah,
So basically, we pay the taxes. I mean, we pay the salaries, taxes to the employer, pay the employer contributions to the local authorities.
yeah,
So basically, if you want to sum it up, we provide a compliance solution to companies who want to hire globally,
yeah,
but in countries where they don't have their own entities. So,
yeah. And then obviously there's you set up that entity in the country, and the professionals that you get to register that company, and they when you say compliance, it means they know the company laws, they know the um, labor laws,
labor
they know the
laws, yeah,
accounting,
exactly.
payroll, HR, and all of those services are then provided like as a out the box package.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah. So anything that has to do with hiring an employee in a foreign country, we manage, and then we basically invoice our customers
yeah,
for the salaries and the employer contributions, etc., and
yeah.
we charge them a management fee.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's bloody useful to do that because, um, again, like from experience, a company that's set up in South Africa, that I work for, um, they've only hired me for financial services compliance, but there's company compliance which they're not aware of. Um, there's, um, I guess, yeah, some of the accounting and tax, but that's fine. And the labor laws, um, in each country, and they definitely don't understand the labor laws, like in terms of asking for leave. I've got 11 days leave due, and I asked about it, and because these guys are Israeli, I think in Israel, with all the sort of religious holidays there, they only get another 10 days um, normal leave. So I just got the impression that they absolutely don't understand the labor laws in South Africa and how it works, and so I can obviously help them with that because I can do. I understand labor laws, I understand company laws, but
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
getting paid for financial services compliance. So if they want me to, I can definitely help them, but then they've got to come to the party with that's another function. I mean, but that's getting into sort of like
To give you an example, so we, for example, we only assist companies who don't have entities in those respective
yeah,
countries where they hire.
yeah, yeah,
So um, yeah, that's the difference, I guess. That
exactly,
but you guys have an entity in South Africa. This
yeah.
Israeli company has an entity
So
in South Africa, so you obviously all
yeah,
you
well,
need
they
is maybe
registered it. They registered
yeah,
it. But this is the thing. So for you, you've got to get to a company that's looking what's the driver for the companies you deal with? Because, I mean, um, you obviously, I mean, in my view, you'd want to get to a company before they actually go through the effort of starting a company, registering another company in another country. You want
Yeah.
to get to them.
Yeah,
Is
see,
it employee driven, like
both.
hiring another employee in a country, and that makes your that gets you the customer or the client, or what's the driver for people using remote.com?
Well, I mean, I think they're different. Sometimes the driver is from the employee side. Sometimes the driver is from the employer or the customer side. So often our customers want to test new markets, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, it's very costly to
Start a company in
open an
another
entity,
country.
but also they want to hire employees on a full-time basis as opposed to
Contract.
contractors. And it comes with a lot of advantages. For example, I mean, hiring contractors is probably an easy thing to do, but then it also comes with misclassification risks, right? An example is if a company hires a contractor and the contractor in that respective country doesn't have any other customers, but only works for this one customer, there could be a misclassification risk for the actual employer. So the authorities in Poland, for example, might say, listen, you're not paying you're only paying this guy his invoice, you're not paying any employer contributions in Poland, etc. And you're actually employing this person on a full-time basis. So you have to decide now, you're going to open your entity here and employ this person compliantly, or you're going to find another solution and pay us employer contributions. But another driver can come from the employee side where they say, listen, I want people to work on a full-time basis. I want the benefits of a full-time job for me.
Yeah.
And that's where they then agree that they'll use an employee of record because the employee gets then all the benefits of a permanent employee. Or then again, a driver from the customer side of them is they find it's a good talent and they want to retain that talent and they want to make sure that they can keep and motivate their people, so they employ them on a full-time basis. And a very important or a key point is also IP protection. So if you hire a contractor, you can't really control the IP that contractor brings to the table. Yes, you can engage in the form of an agreement, but the contractor at the end of the day owns his or her own IP, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with an employer-employee relationship, it's different. The employer owns that IP. So we have an IP strict IP management process, protection process, where we would always hand the IP back to the customer, to the employee. If they terminate or if they resign, whatever, they leave, then they would give that IP back to us, and we would immediately hand it back to the customer, sort of a back-to-back IP protection process that we have built into our agreements.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, the most simple driver to understand is obviously testing new markets, because again, registering an entity in a country can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because remember, you don't only register the entity, you need a payroll provider, you need legal representation, local counsel, and the costs just add up. So there's different reasons.
Okay, cool. So I think we understand what.
And the funny thing is in COVID, like you mentioned, I mean, it was actually sort of perfect timing for our business.
Yeah.
Because a lot of businesses suffered, and our business actually grew in that time.
Yeah.
So it shows you. I mean, every I guess pandemic or whatever crisis brings opportunities.
Yeah, it's a good example. Kaiser, tell me what's your what's your view on like money, your personal finances?
No.
Like what's your philosophy?
So to tell you the truth, I didn't grow up. I grew up with two parents who are polar opposites in terms of managing money.
Yeah.
Like my mom was a big spender.
Mm.
She had the sort of belief that you should enjoy life, and she didn't want to go to the grave rich, which she didn't. She didn't leave much behind, which is great. I mean, she enjoyed every cent. My dad,
But your
he's
mom
still
also
alive.
made money. Your mom
No,
also
she
made
did. I
good money.
mean,
She had
look, my mom,
a job and a business and a catering business.
she was an entrepreneur. And my mom didn't function well with structure, so she always found her way and made a plan wherever she needed to. She was an entrepreneur. My dad is an academic and he's a professional, so he grew up poor as well. So for him, he always wanted to build up this nest egg, which he has. But he was never very entrepreneurial. He never took risk. Whereas my mom took a lot of risk, but I was never exposed to the midway, to a compromise, in terms of both views, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
So I realize now, as an adult and as a father, and I guess as a son who also has responsibilities towards my dad. I realize that it's important to actually learn these lessons early in life in terms of investing, being responsible, taking some risk, and also managing your portfolios, in terms of your risk as well and your exposure, but always having some element there that offers good growth, and then also look at long-term investments. Always when I was younger, I mean, I've got one or two RAs that are still active from when I was young. Well, in my early 20s, but I mean, RA is not really, doesn't really add a lot of value unless you pay a lot into it and you build that portfolio, actively build it. But an RA
Wait,
is,
I want to stop you there. So explain, like from your perspective, what you mean by that, because
yeah,
I
an
mean you've
RA
got a
or
view.
my
You've got a view
RAs,
from a.
yeah, my
Yeah, an RA.
RAs have never been actively managed by anyone. I just used it as a sort of I guess a vehicle to get some tax benefit out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's basically it. I never invested a lot in it. My growth is minimal. I think my portfolio that I'm in with Sanlam is also at the moment not very interesting. It's
Yeah.
basically just a vehicle on the side that helps me with, from a tax point of view, and to put away some money.
Yeah.
And it's something that grows very, very slowly. And I guess I'll only really see the benefit after 60.
Yeah. Or 55.
Well, I
You're
mean
allowed to.
55, but that's when it really starts growing, right? After
Yeah. Yeah. No.
55.
Sure. But you're allowed to legally, and I think that's so. Not to try and explain too much about financial products, but an RA is really just a wrapper. It's like and it's what I would call a tax.
You there? Oh,
Sorry, I think we cut off there. It's got
yeah.
tax laws um, that control it. So, and therefore you get the tax benefit. So, in order to get the tax benefit of an RA, there's rules to it. One being that you can never access it until you're 55.
Yeah.
So that's like a way to control that. So government is giving you a tax benefit in order for there to be rules so that people save in that tax wrapper, and then get the tax benefits. I mean, like I said, I don't really want to explain financial products, but I mean, they used to be a little bit different, but at the moment, I mean, what I try and explain to people is that you can invest in a fund, call it the top 10 stocks fund.
Yeah.
I don't want to actually like promote any kind of products here because these companies are getting free benefit from this. But you can invest in that fund normally, like monthly, and you can take it out, or you can use it whenever you want, etc., etc. Obviously, thinking about your short, long-term goals and how aggressive the portfolio is. But you can take the same fund and use it in an RA. The RA just being the wrapper that has rules and tax benefits to it. Same as a tax-free saving. It's just another tax wrapper with its own rules, a little bit different to an RA, but you can use the same fund in a flexible investment, in a tax saving, and a tax-free investment, and in an RA. You can use the same fund. The RA and the tax-free savings are just the wrapper that gives you the tax benefits that government is giving you.
But let's say you've got an RA with an underwriter and you want to change to another one. You can't, right?
You can. It's a Section 14 transfer.
Yeah, but you can do it you can do it once, or what?
No, you can. I think you can do it more than once. The problem only being is depending on whether you've got a life insurance-based RA with an insurance company, which has commission paid up front, and often then there's penalties, versus with an asset manager where it's flexible and there's no commission that's paid up front, so therefore there's no penalties. So often, but most companies have had to change. Yeah. So it all depends on who you get your RA with as well. And the life insurance companies have very inflexible RAs because they've paid the commission to their agents up front, or the people that get their commission, versus asset managers where there's no commission paid up front. You can take a commission on contribution, so you're contributing a monthly amount of $500, and there's a commission coming off that. So you're actually only investing. So say that commission is, I think it's you can only take like 3%, but let's call it 10%. So if you just to make the numbers easy, because my math is really shit, but you're contributing $500, 10% is 50 rand. So the advisor, financial advisor, gets $50, and 450 gets invested into the fund. And the other way that they will make money, and it's usually a combination of both, or sometimes advisors don't take a commission off the contribution, and they then get an ongoing fee, which is anywhere, I think the max is also 3%, but most advisors probably take 1%, which is, depending on what they're doing for you, maybe also a little bit much, or 0.5. You shouldn't be paying more than 1% to the advisor, and then the asset manager gets a percentage fee as well of the lump sum, and then if there's a platform fee sometimes as well.
Yeah.
So there's a fund fee, there's a platform fee, and there's a financial advisor fee.
But
and that's what people need to check.
Yeah, but also just to quickly to sum up, or to actually give some more context in terms of your question, my philosophy on money. I mean, the thing is, for me, it's always one of those things to actually put things into practice. So I understand, I should have done things differently from, I guess, when I was in my 20s. I took more risk when I was young, right? In terms of, let's say, business ventures, I didn't succeed, meaning the businesses didn't grow, or I didn't get the return that I wanted to. Put a lot of money into that, lost a lot of money, then got married, kids, and having to support a family comes with other pressures, and didn't really focus on the upside of doing something different or something constructive with my money, because I obviously had the pressures of looking after a family. Then I got divorced, and that also has its own consequences financially. And now I'm in a better position where I've got some savings that I would sort of invest into businesses, but I haven't found the right business to invest in. So I'm investigating, and I'm sort of always trying, and I speak to guys about ideas that they have, and I'm always willing to invest in people, but obviously there has to be some drive, or I guess a solid opportunity from their end to also make it work. I haven't found the right opportunity yet. Also, from a property point of view, I've had 1 or 2 properties in the past. Again, I had to sell one. I had to sell one early in my 20s to invest in a business, which was also a mistake, but I guess at that stage I needed it. So I've never really made it. I've never really found good ways to make my own money, to multiply my own money, right? I have the theory, and now these days when I talk to people and I see what they have done, and also investing in property and making, and finding other ways to help your money multiply, use someone else's money to make your own grow and your property portfolio. It's just, for me now, I'm at a stage where I think back, and I probably should have done things differently. And like the Chinese say, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. That philosophy is also something that always goes through my mind. I'm like, what can I do now to actually benefit me 20 years down the line, right? So, yeah, from a money point of view, I've never been the best guy to sort of give any advice, even though I've always been open to taking it. But also, the practice, putting it into practice has always been a difficult thing for me, because I guess life always happened, and it's not an excuse, because it shouldn't have, and I should have done things better. But it's just the reality,
But it's also in the past now, right?
So
So there's nothing you can do about it. So it's about now. So
exactly, there's
what are
something
you
I
going to
can
do
do
right
about
now?
it now if I find the right opportunity and find the right guidance. Because even though I'm 44, I'd still need the right guidance.
Yeah,
But
amazing.
yeah, unfortunately, but I'm still very happy. Life's still awesome, and I love life. And yeah, I sort of deal with the challenges as they come, right? Yeah.
So yeah, and I love you, and I love the friendship and the time that we've known each other. You've been one of my best friends.
Yeah, same, man. I feel the same. And I think, if we talk about money and learning and stuff, I think you have a lot of wisdom. You have a lot of wisdom, and I think you've always done things in a very sort of creative way, I guess, or innovative way. Very, yes, for lack of the right word, man, unconventional way. Put it that way. You've always been wheeling and dealing, and you've always made it work in your own way, right? And I think that's also something to take away from the friendship as well. Is I guess almost survival tactics, diversifying, having your hands in many pies, instead as opposed to only one. And I mean, that's the way one should do things, right? Especially these days where we have technology, we have the knowledge base to work from, to make that work. see, you're sitting
Yeah.
there in France, in Paris, every day, people, observing people, probably not
Mm.
working your arse off, but you can still, but you still get by. So obviously you have other means to support you, and that's the way life should be, man. That's the way life should be. Are you having a good time? Are you thinking about every cent you're spending, or you at least
Nah,
sort of
nah, I'm not.
relaxing a bit?
I'm not
Hey?
relaxing. Yeah, because I used to. I mean, you know, I used to be. I don't. Maybe the word is stingy or worried about money
Yeah,
because I lost my dad when I was 11 years old, and my mom, you know, was she was a housewife at the time,
yeah, and a
and that
single
was
mom.
her job,
Yeah,
single mom, and yeah, she also found it difficult to make money and or to do things, and but yeah, I mean, she's had such an amazing journey, almost 70, and you know, she's like, yeah, I think she's now only getting into her stride in life. Anyway, so
yeah. Yeah, you know what the thing
I
is?
had
You know what I've also learned, Almo? There's so few people that want to share their recipes for success. Like in terms of on a granular level, to say, listen, to show you
exactly,
exactly how they made their millions.
yeah,
People are
yeah, yeah,
always
yeah,
easy
yeah,
to say that, look, this is how I did it. This is my
yeah,
philosophy. But a
yeah,
philosophy doesn't always help, because
yeah,
a philosophy doesn't help me understand money, or finances better. You need people to impart knowledge on a granular basis,
granular,
like
yeah,
actually
exactly,
step
like,
by step, exactly, how they did it, and how they maybe, how they were creative in a certain way, and how they overcame
yeah,
certain barriers, and how they spotted
how they
certain.
failed, how they really, really failed,
Yeah, but like on a
and
granular level, right?
yeah, and how they, yeah, but everyone, but the thing is, I find people have to walk their own path,
True.
um, and I don't actually think people listen to advice. They actually don't. Um, I think they pick up nuggets of like of things and they put those together for themselves and then carry on the way they want to. And that's what I found in the advice business in terms of legal advice, in terms of financial advice. And I think that's cool. You know, the way you're going to find your path with life and money and things is just going your own way,
Yeah.
and doing it how you want to. But yeah, I find it very frustrating in those advice. So I don't. That's why I don't really like. I don't really like giving legal advice. I don't really like giving financial advice. But maybe that needs to change. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because I'm just going to talk about my experiences and maybe somebody learns from that. But yeah, I just found that people, and it was frustrating because you know you have good advice and they kind of don't take it. But I think that's actually the way it works. They shouldn't necessarily just take your advice. They should hear your story. They should listen to what you did and take from it what works for them. And that is actually advice, I guess. Um,
But also giving
yeah,
advice, when you give advice, do you also play devil's advocate with them, and you actually challenge them?
I try. Yeah, but it's also learning. You know, I've done it wrong. I've done it good. Um, yeah, and I think that's the reason for this podcast. Essentially, is just telling other people's story, maybe a little bit of my story, but and and somebody may learn from that. And that's because I think I've learned a lot in my 44 years
Yeah.
on this earth. Um, and I also feel like that is something that comes with age, like experience. You've just experienced a lot,
Unfortunately,
and
right?
but I think I see it with Tarek and his friends. Um, they are so eager to learn and from me, and it just Tarek, not so much, maybe, you know, but he probably does. But his friends they're willing to listen. One of them has asked if he can, you know, help with some of my little ventures, like, you know, the clothing business, Belly X, my podcast. He's like he could probably produce and he, you know, he produces like songs, and, you know, he'll be able to be like an editing monkey, putting everything together. Because at the moment, the way I do the podcast, I just like go, and I mean the app that I'm using does a lot of that automatically. It like does the editing almost automatically. I mean, my last podcast, I thought it was a fuck show, because there was like, it was like the fourth time I'm using it, and the person didn't have a great internet connection, and it managed to put most of it together on its
Oh,
own.
really?
But there's obviously, yeah, it's really cool. So I'm learning, but yeah, that's technology for you, right? Like, people are going to have to find a way to be useful in different ways, because technology is really taking over. But they just have to change their mindset. They just have to change the way that they approach it, because obviously they've got something to give. But it you know, like I said, this app does basically the production for me.
Listen, I think I mean, I know how you've always been with your kids. I mean, you've always like tried to teach them something, and, you know, impart wisdom and stuff, and teach them from an early age. What did you experience? When was the sort of at which point did they actually start showing, or actively start showing interest in learning? Why I'm asking that is because my kids are preteen and teen, but I somehow struggle to teach them some of these principles.
Nuggets.
Principles, you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
And I know it's probably the right age now. Probably should have started sooner. I always try my best, but almost it's like the interest has to sort of come from
their
inside,
own, from them.
And
So I think the short answer to that is basically, I don't even I didn't think my kids listened to me ever, like in terms of that. But they pick these things up. They see your actions, and that's basically with your own kids. That's, I think, the only thing you can do. You can just you know, carry on doing your thing and the way that you want, and they've obviously also have people around them, because they are potentially more likely to listen to people that are not you.
yeah.
So be careful, you know, you know, like your dad. Your dad obviously has a lot of wisdom as well. So, and I'm sure your kids listen to your dad.
Yeah, look,
So,
their mom has a business, right? And I mean, the business is doing well, from what I understand. So they obviously want to start their own business, right?
right.
Which is great.
And they didn't. I don't think they saw your entrepreneurial ventures before. You know, I think they've probably mainly seen you have a job,
Exactly. Yeah. But the fact that they want to start their own business is great, and I think it's a good idea.
right? Yeah.
You know, that I say to them, listen, do it. I mean, it's a great opportunity. But that's where it stops, almost, in terms of that's the idea. But now, where do you start? Or where do they start to actually understand the principles of business? What you have to do.
They're going to have to make their own
the
mistakes.
work that you have to put in, where you find your ideas from, how you make them, how you turn them into reality, how you know that.
So just keep telling them what you think. And even if they're not listening, when you're driving them to school, when you're chatting to them, you just keep telling them your principles, and maybe they pick up something from that.
Yeah, you're right. I guess it's probably a good start, right?
Just talk. Just talk. That's a start, I think.
Yeah.
For them. Just talk about your philosophies and your business philosophies and your values and
I
what
think
you've
especially
learned.
the failing part. is the part I think that kids don't understand. I don't know if it's the younger kids, the sort of the kids of nowadays. I guess we also didn't, or I didn't really when I was young. It wasn't a.
No, we had to make the mistakes. That's
So I
life.
think for them, it's like
Life is
they
about
think they
making
start a
mistakes.
business. If they have an idea, they want to now, open a restaurant. They have this
And
idea that if they
yeah,
open the restaurant, it'll automatically do well, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
which is not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
You have to find the right
No.
ideas. You have,
And you obviously, as a parent, you just want to protect them, right? You want to protect them from the mistakes. But I think you're going to have to let them make the fucking mistakes, bro.
no, sure, and I'm there to back them up. But
To back them. That's all you can do. Like and that's what we've wanted to do, I think, as fathers that have children and having made our own mistakes. What we've learned is what we maybe didn't have. I mean, I don't know about you, but what I didn't have is I didn't have a backup. I didn't have a net to fall back on. There was no one. So I basically just want to be, and it doesn't mean money. It can also be learning. It can also be it can be wisdom.
encouragement, words of encouragement.
Yeah. And all you can do is to try and be there when they fall.
Yeah. No, true.
Yeah.
True.
That's all I want to do for my kids. I just want to be able to be there when they fall.
Yeah. No, I guess so. That's our job, right? And I mean, I think our kids depend on us for that. So let's do it. Tell me, have you told Carlos yet that you are promoting Deadline in Paris?
Deadline Medal, yeah. I actually try to call him to have a podcast with him now.
Yeah. You should. How long are you still in Paris for?
Yeah, no, he wants to, but he didn't pick up the call, bro. You know, you got when the call comes, you got to pick up the call. Otherwise, but I know I'll have a podcast with him for sure.
Hashtag Deadline in Paris, eh?
Exactly. I'll do a post for him. Anyway.
Take one of these and then hashtag Deadline in Paris, eh? International tour, eh? Going international.
International.
Yeah. Deadline international.
Yeah. So.
Now, lucky man. Well, you say.
Okay, but talking about Carlos, Padel is getting fucking big in this country. Well, not in South Africa. I'm in Paris now.
Yeah, I know.
You play Padel.
Yes.
Padel.
I love it. Padel is. I love it. Yeah, I've got a good gang there in Irene at the Irene Country Club. A couple of guys at the Brooklyn one, Broncos.
And old Sealand now has a paddle company that does gear, I think.
Yeah, but
that's like
last time I chatted to him, he wanted to open courts somewhere.
Yeah, I think he wants to open his own courts as well.
I don't know where.
Yeah.
But I think it was still sort of in the planning stages.
Well, it's big business.
But
it's big business now because I think it's quite expensive to play a game. It's not cheap, I guess.
And Cape Town's full of courts.
Yeah. I've played one.
Didn't you play with Kim? Kim Lovegrove? Yeah, I played with her a couple of times. She's super keen.
Yeah, but she's good at squash. So she's got the squash skills. I think, and you've got the tennis skills, right?
Yeah, and then Natasha Kazantzis. She's also got the tennis background. Her brother Evan's got the squash. So we've got some good guys here in Pretoria. Hein, you know Hein, man.
Hein?
Shauna's husband. Yeah, he's also into the paddle. The Pretoria is paddle mad at the moment.
Paddle mad, yeah.
And it's a good sport, man. You get the good run around, eh?
Yeah. So that's what you're playing.
Love it.
Paddle.
Love it, and I swim. And I swim.
And you swim.
Do the swimming, the paddle. No, man, that's it. That's what my back and my neck allow.
And how do you get jacked? You still do weights?
No,
Push-ups.
Dude, no, I can't do body weight exercises anymore. My neck and
Why?
shoulders are giving me problems.
Okay.
That's why swimming,
Okay.
swimming,
Swimming,
yeah,
low impact, very low impact.
exactly, and I love it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay, cool. And other hobbies? Other hobbies?
yes, not really, eh? I
Work.
think I've got
Work, paddle, swim.
long-term COVID, eh? So one of my hobbies is napping.
No, you've
Napping.
got no. We've got a type of depression.
The what?
A type of depression. It's not debilitating, but it's. I think we've got
Interesting
some kind
view,
of.
but yeah, you know what I like doing? Napping and listening to music.
Nothing.
Finding new music, discovering new songs.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, paddle. I mean, when I have a moment available, I'll play paddle.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Paddle.
spending time with my daughters. They're not teens,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obviously, you know, they have their interests. So try and fit in with those. And
What do they
traveling.
do?
What
What do they
do
like?
they do? What do they like?
What do they do? Yeah, like sport-wise and.
Well, they're playing hockey at the moment, so
Okay.
you know it keeps them busy, and I guess it's good exercise to get them out of the house, off the iPads.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I try and do is, you know, you have to find the balance. So when your kids grow up, or when our kids grow up, help them find the balance between actually evolving with tech and using tech, you know, firstly from an educational point of view, secondly from an entertainment point
Yeah.
of view, but then also not depending on tech to sort of keep you motivated or keep you going. So sometimes I say to them,
yeah, to get not to use it to get the dopamine rush.
yeah, exactly.
But to actually use it for what it. Yeah. Okay. Listen, my
cool.
battery's
Cool.
now pretty much almost done because of this great podcast we just did. Hopefully it comes out. I think there was 2 recordings because there was a call that came through. So hopefully it comes out. I'm sure it will, and we'll chat again. And then paddle the next time I'm in Pretoria, you're in Cape Town.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it was good chatting, and enjoy Paris. And I want that
Paris.
photo of the Eiffel Tower in the background, like one of those.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Shot, man.
Love you,
and take it easy. Au revoir.
Yeah. Cool.
Ciao,
Au revoir.
ciao. That's Italy,
Ciao, ciao. Yeah.
Ciao, eh?